And welcome back to the Countdown. I'm your Countdown host, MJ, booked back for another episode here in the world of the Countdown. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Hope everybody's taking care of themselves, taking care of their families. If you haven't gotten those shots, of course, go out there, get those shots, get those boosters. Let's get through this damn thing, get this damn COVID out of the way so we can not ever have to say the word COVID again. But I have a countdown here for you, and I am not alone. And this time, I don't have Eric or Rob or even Blake or the doctor of wordonomics. I have a brand new guest with me. He has his own podcast, Buzzing with Marlo. I've been on there a couple of times just recently, literally today, posted a new episode in which I happen to have been on. Just got to know him, real cool guy, and he knows his thing or two about wrestling because he's been in that ring, folks. Warren Marlowe, the host, Buzzing with Marlo. How's it going, sir?
What's up, MJ? How you doing, man? Like you said, I had a blast talking to you earlier this morning about my podcast. Now I'm definitely ready to do the favor with you, man. I'm excited. Let's get it going.
Want to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
All right. Like MJ said, I was a professional wrestler for about 6 years. Loved every minute of it. I was a masked character. If you haven't heard of him, his name is American Pride. All right, guess not. All right, masked character. Everybody had a little combination. I was a mixture of the Patriot, but I had an obligation of making Spider-Man, Power Rangers, and Deadpool all in one, and it became American Prodigy. Like I said, I've been there for 6 years. Basically had to give it up based off of due to injuries and stuff like that, because apparently fake stuff apparently do hurt, ladies and gentlemen. And concussions are not something to play around with, or neck injuries. And that was a little bit of how my wrestling career went. And then I decided to get into the podcast world and made this bad boy. And man, it's just obviously just some of the most fun I've ever had. I've had guests like MJ Book himself. I've had former wrestling podcasters. I've had authors. I mean, up and coming movie producers. One actually just had one of his movies premiered last night. His new Christmas film, Secret Santa. Nigel Butler.
I watched that episode.
Yeah, and I mean, it was pretty cool just to see that and just to see his mindset of a different Santa Claus than what we are all used to, which was kind of weird in ways. But hey,
it's different.
People do their own thing.
It's different.
But yeah, that's enough about me, I guess. I mean, I'm a father, a devoted husband, hard worker. I love to do podcasts, and I'm a gym rat on my off time. That's basically me.
And he's an XFL fan. For those listening, you can't tell, but he's got an old XFL jersey on there.
Oh, it's not old. This is brand
the old one.
Is that, believe it or not.
Which team is that? It's the Dragons. Okay. I have a funny story to that,
because I went to Seattle and I got to go see my wife's family, and they live up in Seattle. And the funny thing is, my main alternative was trying to go get a Ken Griffey Jr. jersey. And you don't know how hard it was to find any type of Ken Griffey Jr. jersey.
I believe it.
But it's so easy to find a Seahawks shirt. And let me tell y'all, ladies and gentlemen, if you ain't been to Seattle, you are literally going to see that lime green, that gray, and that blue color every single where of that town. There's a reason why they wear number 12. It is everywhere. And needless to say, I just said I was going to buy something that has Seahawks in it. I'm in Seattle. Decided to buy an XFL jersey. So
no, you see it. There's no way in the world I'm going to be anywhere near that place.
I'm a Jaguar fan. I can't wear Seahawks stuff. So it's like, no,
they're in my division. I'm a Niner fan. They're in my division. I can't stand the Seahawks. But anyway,
I'll tell my mom not to watch this.
She can watch. Yeah, we let the language fly a little bit here. We'll try to be good for Ma here. But we're here to do a countdown, and this countdown is definitely going to be wrestling topic. We're going to be counting down our favorite wrestling heels. this is definitely a topic I've been wanting to do for a while. And I got my guy here. We're gonna do this one. We might have to do the opposite and do faces somewhere down the road. But how difficult was this
It
list
might
for
be
you to
easier.
come up with? It probably will be a lot easier.
I will tell you this. I'll tell you this. I'm thinking like when you watch the WWE shows and they talk about the greatest tag teams and they list it down, or MTV's top 100 songs or whatever. And when I literally had to look at all this, I'm thinking it's easy. No big problem. Fine. I could find the number. But then I realized, oh my gosh, like how much research you got to do on this. And then it's like, I mean, obviously we're doing it on the podcast. People are going to have their opinions. They're going to be like, why is that person in your top 10? Like that person in NWA or something else, like here is going to be right here. So it's just like I had to do so much research because I remember when I first had you on and you told me, explain me about like movies and stuff. And I was just like, this is my first one.
Yeah.
It
Welcome
took
to
me
my
about
world.
2 days. It took me about 2 days.
Welcome to my world, man. Welcome to my world. I've done about 7 of these and there's about 50, 60 lists I'm working on as we speak. So welcome to my world.
It's the first thing regarding a podcast that I actually wrote down anything, because one thing about my podcast is I don't pre-plan anything. And that is one thing that I think my podcast is very popular at, because it is not pre-planned. It's literally whatever you feel like you want to bring that flow in. That's how it goes. That's how I love a conversation.
This is the same. I don't have a script in front of me. The only thing I have in front of me is my notes, and with my notes, it's just really my list and a little exclamation I might need maybe later down the line, but I don't know what I'm going to say. So and that's what makes it fun. So
none of us do.
Exactly. Do you have any honorable mentions for these evil bad guys or bad gals? Who knows? Do you have any honorable mentions?
Obviously, we got to say Ric Flair. I mean, probably the greatest heel of all time. Even regardless of what's going on in the old world and stuff like that, probably the best heel that's ever been out here, hands down. Flair and Triple H are going to be the two main ones. You got to put those two together.
Okay. I'm going to be mentioning some honorable mentions along the way, but I'll mention a couple here. One is Jake the Snake Roberts when he first came around. I loved him as a heel. He got more love, of course, as a face, but I loved his heel because he brought that darkness into the character, and he just had a way of captivating that camera without talking very loudly. He just said
the first
calmly. Not many people do that. People are screaming and yelling, and he just was calm, cool, and collective, which is a lot more intimidating.
You have more.
This one will probably, this one is probably going to shock people. But the Miz couldn't quite make it, and it's because of I'm taking a stand on the Miz. It's because what he's been doing the last few years. What he's been doing the last few years has been terrible. It's been terrible.
That's a reality show. That's a reality show and Dancing with Stars.
I know. I can't stand what he's been doing lately. He's been a buffoon. He's not been a heel. He's been a buffoon. Lot lately. He's just, he's been a buffoon lately. So yeah, he's been an idiot. But instead of us just continuing to just talk about our honorable mentions, let's get started with the countdown. This is a 10-spot countdown, and I'm going to let my esteemed guests get rolling. What do you have as numero 10?
Number 10 is going to be Kurt Angle. I mean, if you honestly believe a heel, that a guy that literally came in and Vince McMahon looked at him and said, you are going to be our top bad guy. And Kurt Angle flat out told him, no, I'm an Olympic medalist. There's no way I could be a bad guy. And the funniest thing about Kurt Angle could do anything, and it would never tarnish his character. And the heel Kurt Angle, I mean, is just a straight badass. I mean, good Lord. You could have every part of Kurt Angle. He could be funny, be jokative, the prankster Kurt Angle, the serious Kurt Angle. But when he was in that ring, there is one thing you never wanted to do, and that's be in the ring with Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle could wrestle circles around anyone. And honestly, I think for a good portion of the time, people paid tickets just to see if Kurt Angle would get his ass whooped. I mean, how many good guys you know are gonna last staying the good guy, winning title after title, literally in their debut time? It don't happen.
Kurt Angle, yeah. I have Kurt Angle's book over here.
Mister, you suck.
Yeah, well, let me grab it real quick. I can grab it real quick.
Oh, there it is.
I got his book.
One and only.
Yeah, I got his old book. I have an old action figure of Kurt Angle. And I got to actually talk to Kurt Angle on my birthday.
He's an awesome dude. Awesome guy. I mean, I got to meet him a couple of times. One, I worked a show, and then obviously we go to these wrestle cons and stuff like that. And I mean, just a humble dude. The first time I worked a show where he was booked and where he was signing autographs and stuff. This was right around the time that he just got released from WWE. So obviously it wasn't the best Kurt Angle that you could possibly see. So obviously when I went to WrestleCon, just a whole different person and stuff like that. So it's really awesome to see where he is now and just the mindset he is. Because the first time I literally was just like, screw this guy. Like, screw him. Like, honestly. It just left a bad taste in my mouth, man.
Well, that's a good one, because definitely nobody would have ever thought he would have been a heel when he first came around. But, man, he was definitely a good one. That's a good pick. My number 10 is a guy who recently returned to the world of wrestling. He's Chicago's own, Chicago man, Chicago made, the one and only, best in the world, CM Punk. Now, CM Punk, I'm waiting for that at AEW heel turn so badly. I want him to turn. And lately it's looking like maybe he might finally be about to turn heel. Man, I hope he does it. And I hope he does it not on a certain show that comes on Fridays. But I hope it's not on Fridays. But CM Punk, when he was coming up, I mean, he was through Ring of Honor. And this guy was, for a lot of people, they didn't know how good he was. But my God, that man is an absolute workhorse and a wrestling machine in his own right. I definitely urge listeners to, go on YouTube or search and look for some of those Ring of Honor matches in particular, because damn, those matches were good. Of course, he got to the WWE, or should I say WWECW or ECW Light, because that ain't ECW. But he was you could argue he was the number one star of that ECW. And he was one of the few that would have survived in the old ECW. I think he would have thrived in it. And he arrives, of course, in the big company, and he becomes a big time face. And then the question was, could he make it as a heel? Oh boy, he was despicable as a heel. He was disgusting as a heel. I mean, all the stuff. What was your
favorite time when he was a heel? What was your favorite one?
Jeff Hardy, the stuff he was doing with Jeff Hardy, because he was just making fun of his alcoholism, which is just a mean thing to do, and that's personal, but he did it so well. And of course, he had a little group, the Straight Edge Society. That Straight Edge Society was just I loved the Straight Edge Society. Even the Nexus, and I hated the Nexus when they first showed up, but I liked his Nexus. And
of course, a different outlook.
I think he was much more charismatic than the next. He made them a little more interesting, whereas before they just kind of showed up and were really dull once a mic was in their hands. He was never dull with the mic in the hand. So CM Punk pulled it off perfectly. And he did it so easily. It was so easy. And what makes it better is he was so good at that, but he would also be so damn good at being a face. And he became a great face. And again, he would go back to being a heel. Some folks can't do that and have that same level of success. He was even better when he went back to being a heel. So CM Punk is just an amazing superstar talent. I can't wait for him to turn heel in AEW. He needs to do it again, not on a certain Friday show. Number 10, best in the world, by his own words, CM Punk.
I like that one. I'd say the only one, the main thing I would say Punk probably be remembered in the WWE era, obviously, is those matches with Daniel Bryan, hands down, phenomenal matches.
We got cheated.
The
there.
stuff he did with Taker at WrestleMania,
and Taker was cool with it.
To go into that match, and you're using Paul Bearer as a gimmick, basically to get this match premiered for WrestleMania. And
Paul Bearer would have loved it.
He made it. Oh,
Paul Bearer would have loved it.
Saying.
He'd have loved it. People got offended and mad about that. Oh, Paul would have been the first. He'd have been saying, "You need to say this. You need to say this."
Yeah, like literally. So I think that's the most thing that would like catch my eye when you talk about CM Punk being a heel, is that time that he was in there with Undertaker and they used a dead guy as an objective into the match. So that I like that pick. Definitely do like that pick.
It takes a special kind of despicable. And that's CM Punk. That's CM Punk. So my number 10. What do you have as 9?
My dog. The GOAT in my eyes. Hollywood version. The Rock.
Oh, The Rock.
Hollywood version. The Rock. I mean, if you think about a heel that literally can turn off and on. The Rock, I mean, we sit here and say Stone Cold is the greatest of all time when it comes to Rock and Austin. You don't say that without putting Rock in that capitalization to know, hey, what helped Stone Cold get to where he is. The matches with The Rock and Austin are the 2 premier matches that you literally watch over and over again. I guarantee people still watch those matches nowadays and just go, man, those 2 could go. And it wasn't even like they were really doing crazy mechanical matches. They were doing easy stuff, but they did timing, the right ways of telling a characterization. And you don't see that often in matches anymore. Now it's based off of move after move after move after move. And Rock and Austin both were mechanics when they first started. And then guess what? That wasn't their prime to get over, was being the mechanics. So guess what? They changed their characters. Rock went into talking about himself in third person. Stone Cold went into the way of being, I'm just going to beat your ass in every different way you come at me. And those 2 just platformed wrestling for now on. And honestly, it's made it so hard for wrestling to get back to what those 90s and stuff used to be because of Stone Cold and The Rock. So Hollywood Rock, the stuff he did with Hurricane was pretty damn funny.
Oh God, that
he called him the Hamburglar was glorious.
Cool machete.
That shit was so funny.
The tiny ding-a-ling.
Yes,
I remember.
Oh my gosh, like just the simplest stuff that man did, and it was just so fucking hilarious.
So more Hollywood Rock heel than Nation heel Rock.
Hollywood Rock just seemed like he had more to bring out. Nation Rock, it was just basically Rock being pissed off with the fans and just getting to just say how he feels every single day. But Hollywood Rock is always going to stand out to me just because that was the first time ever I went for a bad guy. And I didn't care if The Rock was a good guy or a bad guy. He was my guy. So I would go for all the good guys when it came to Monday Night Raw. But when The Rock came on, I'm going to Rock. I'm not cheering for Stone Cold. I'm not cheering for Booker T. I'm not cheering for literally all these other guys. Like Rock was my guy. And it was just awesome thing to see. Hollywood Rock is literally probably one of the most memorable. I mean, his concerts. Come on, man.
Oh,
Like
geez.
those concerts were glorious. When he
Oh,
was in
man.
Sacramento, that was hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't heel rock with this concert, but I liked his
The
Vicky
Sacramento
Guerrero.
one.
He
Oh,
was
the
there,
Vicky
but
Guerrero.
my
Yeah, yeah,
favorite's the Vicky Guerrero one
yeah. Mm-hmm.
because the broadcasters lost their minds. They just started busting out laughing, and you could tell that they didn't know what Rock was
Michael
going to
Cole
say.
fell out of this chair.
I can't blame him. That was Rock was hysterical. You look
So
like a
yeah,
hooker, not the expensive kind. It's like, ooh, damn, Rock.
that's like
But
where you go. Can he say that on cable television? It's The Rock. Who gives
it's
a
The Rock.
damn?
He can say whatever he wants. He's the only one that doesn't realize we're in a PG era. But that's a good one, though. I gotta say, I do like Hollywood Rock. In fact, my favorite Rock theme is the Hollywood theme he had.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Rock theme. I can't stand the new one, and I can't stand almost all the variations. I do like Rock Nation theme, though. So every time it kind of flips between those two, but I like the Hollywood thing. The vest got a little overplayed, but it got a little overplayed. But that's a good one. I like that one. Yeah. My number 9. And I'll just say this real quick. Hollywood Rock is actually an honorable mention. He didn't make it in my 10, but I do like Hollywood Rock. But he did not make it in my 10. Sorry. And I know Rob will be upset with me. But sorry, Rob. My number 9 is simply one of the greatest wrestlers there has ever been. This guy made it on a previous list when me and good brother Blake were counting down our favorite intercontinental champions. He is simply, absolutely one word: perfect. He's perfect. And that is, of course, Curt Hennig. Mr. Perfect, one of the all-time greats. Rest in peace, Curt Hennig. I feel there's a generations of fans who have really, really missed out when it comes to Curt Hennig, because my God, that man could go. And even as he got older, he could still go. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. He could still go, what he could do. When he came back out of nowhere in the Royal Rumble, the place blew up because he was one of those surprise entries. And usually with them, they don't last long. They last a couple of minutes. Boom, they're gone. Mm-hmm. Curt lasted a long time. He was like one of the last 4. I was like, he ain't going to win it. But the fact that Curt's still out there, that was just amazing. And I have the belt that is in that picture. It's right there. So I have that IC belt. And the reason I have it is because of Curt Hennig, and it's out of respect to that belt back in the day when it was the belt, the work belt. Mm-hmm. To me, that belt meant way more than the WWF title at the time. Mm-hmm. But Curt was Curt was so despicable as well as a heel, just saying how perfect he was. The arrogance. I loved the arrogance that just flowed from him. And of course, if you're going to be a big time heel, you got to have a great manager. And he had, you could say, the greatest one of them all right there at his side, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Undoubtedly, if you don't think he is one of the greatest managers of all time, you are not truly a wrestling fan and you don't know shit. Sorry, Warren's mom. But it's just the truth. When it comes to Bobby Heenan, you can't say that he is not one of the greatest managers of all time, if not the greatest. And Curt, just everything he did, from going up there and throwing the towel to the back and catching it, and even when he was broadcasting, catching the pencil perfectly right in his hand, catching hitting the gum out of his hand when he spits it. So arrogant.
The basketball throw and stuff.
He would do all those vignettes, all that stuff.
They said it was only a first take. It was on
one take. He did it on one take. But that's just Curt Hennig, and we lost that guy again way, way too soon. Again, urging listeners, just like I said, look up CM Punk's Ring of Honor matches. just look up Kurt Hennig. I don't believe you're going to find a bad match. But if you want a recommendation match, his matchup with Bret Hart, legendary.
Yes. Yep.
Legendary. One of the
Yep.
best matches I've ever seen is between him and Bret Hart. And I'm not even a Bret Hart fan. So Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, not the Texas West redneck thing that he did in WCW. Not that. Not that. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, number 9. Yes, I went to that West Texas redneck thing.
I would
That's what they were
question
called.
your knowledge. I would question your knowledge if you even put that in a category.
No.
Other than worst gimmick.
I have the song, though, on CD because I have that
I believe
WCW
it.
CD, and that song is on there. Rap is crap. That song is on there. Terrible.
Oh,
Kurt.
man. I do like that pick you did, definitely, because, and like how you said, when he came back and went into the Royal Rumble, a lot of people don't realize this. When Kurt came out, Brock was slowly coming in, and Kurt was the guy training Brock.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock would wrestle Kurt, and Kurt would actually make Brock Lesnar blow up.
Yep,
and people never knew about that.
And
so,
Brock, he may be big, but that tank is not exactly small with Brock. He can go. And yeah, Kurt always did that.
That was I love that thing because actually I think you can watch it on YouTube. 1 or 2 of their matches. But you said something that literally what matched my number 10. Kurt Hennig was Kurt Angle before Kurt Angle was Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah,
and
he was.
Those two, literally, if you compared those two, were almost similar in ways, except Kurt Hennig didn't do the more funny vignette type single.
He was a little more comedic
on camera.
He was more comedic.
Yeah, he might have been a little bit more comedic.
He was more comedic
for sure. We know that one for him.
Oh yeah, Kurt Hennig backstage was a bigger prankster. He's a practical joker. But that's actually one of my dream matches. I'm glad you said that. That's one of my dream matches. I would have, if I could get a time machine, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, and Kurt Angle.
Or Kurt Angle, yeah.
Oh, that would be that's box office.
Oh man, the 04 Kurt Angle with that. Oh my gosh. Oh,
box office. Oh, box office.
Oh, that's a dream match.
What you got?
I like that.
What you got is 8.
Iron Sheik. I mean, if you really, even though the story that you told me before, Iron Sheik is gonna be in the top heels because first of all, he's not American. Secondly,
we can tell
the spots, the stories that he was in. There ain't no way in hell anyone in our area was going to sit here and cheer this man. So literally, if you want to talk about a guy that was on the camera, and guys that literally are not on the camera and still will give you heat, Iron Sheik was that guy. I have had so many stories from guys that I've worked shows with, legends, tell me stories about Iron Sheik. And I've heard every single one of them are damn near true. The heat that this man would, the levels that he would go to get heat is just unparalleled. So he will definitely be my number 8, Iron Sheik.
Iron Sheik did not make it in my 10.
Hulk Hogan. You bastard.
I think Piper said it best. I know that I've gotten old because I can finally understand what the Sheik says. Because when I was younger, I didn't know what he was saying, but now I can totally understand everything he says. But yeah, I wasn't rooting for the Sheik back in the day. I did later on, though. I think I've mentioned it on your show. Yeah, against Hogan, I rooted for the Sheik. But I'll root for anybody over Hogan. I don't care who it is. I'll take John Cena over Hogan. But Sheik was definitely he was definitely an interesting character. But I was such a big Sergeant Slaughter fan. There's no way in the world I'm going to root for the Iron Sheik, which made their partnership years later even weirder. No, my number 8 dealt with WCW a little bit, I guess, talking about the West Texas Rednecks. WWECW dealt with that. And now it's time to deal with another wrestling promotion. And this promotion is Extreme. The franchise. Shane Douglas. Now, Shane is one of those wrestlers that people just don't think about. I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably just said, who? Unfortunately, he was in the WWE as Dean Douglas. Dumb gimmick. If you really, the only thing he's known for there was he was the one that got the belt when Shawn lost his smile. So that's about it. That's his only claim to fame in WWE. But the franchise, the best way to describe him for fans today is he was Triple H before Triple H was Triple H.
Yes.
That is who he was. And you can't tell it from there because he is a little smaller, but that was the night he won the NWA title and christened it the ECW Eastern Championship Wrestling Heavyweight title, which became Extreme Championship Wrestling. So that picture is a huge moment in wrestling history. I remember when that happened in magazines because there was no internet back then. So that was all over the place. But again, another despicable human being, and he was fearless in it. He would say some of the most outlandish things, and he didn't exactly have a filter, so F-bombs were not unusual coming out of his mouth. In fact, a lot of F-bombs would fly out of his mouth. He would be cussing, and his favorite targets was Ric Flair. I mean, he would just destroy Ric Flair. I mean, and since I didn't like Ric Flair, I loved it. I just loved it. He would destroy Ric Flair. I'm like, damn, man, did Ric just steal your breakfast? What the heck did Flair do to you? Many years later, I learned what Flair did to him. But Shane Douglas, I mean, what he did in ECW, that's his crowning jewel. Of course, he was ECW champion, created the Triple Threat, which basically was a kind of a DX kind of an organization. Bam Bam Bigelow was at his best there. I mean, Shane was so popular as a heel that the fans started to like him. He got over. So big time props to Shane. I love the feud he had with Taz. The franchise, because that's how he would say it. All-time favorite. Can't do this list without him. He's my favorite heel in the history of ECW. The franchise, Shane Douglas. And of course, he had Francine with him. That didn't help. That not hurt either. That beautiful woman. So
I was about to say, oh yeah, that one. Okay.
That didn't hurt. And he had kimono at 1.2. He had kimono at 1.2.
Yeah. And I love how you said it at that number because he actually is in this category in ways too. So, but mine was definitely not about Francine.
I like Francine. I like kimono. But
the things that he did with Ric Flair, there's not many guys to put Ric Flair on a mic and not be able to talk. Shane Douglas was that guy. And Ric Flair did not have comebacks at all when it was going.
Well, he did, but they were weak. Douglas. He did, but they were weak.
That's why I'm saying he didn't really have comebacks.
They were weak. Shane butchered him.
He had one time, and then after that, it just like lost it. And even the crowd was just like, "Oh, you got nothing on that one, buddy."
Shane butchered him. He absolutely eviscerated him.
I ain't gonna lie though, if anybody watches this YouTube video and they sit there and look at that guy in the back of it, and they're like, why is he saying that guy's name and not Kevin Nash? Like, that look like Kevin Nash.
Oh God, no. Well, maybe when Kevin was younger. When Kevin was younger, like when he was playing basketball.
Kevin Nash if Lex Luger had a baby together.
That's what that just gross. Like. That's just disturbing. That's just really disturbing. Yeah, we're gonna have to go to number 7 now. What's number 7? That's a really weird image.
That's one of your honorable mentions, Miz. I mean, the stuff that he did when he first came in, you weren't gonna like this guy. Period. One, he came off a reality show, The Real World, and I'm telling you right now, is there anybody off of that show that's like a baby face to anybody? No. If you watch any of their shows, them mugs would literally they would put their life on they would literally kill somebody to win money or something off of that. And that's like literally how those characters would be. And the Miz, man, matches that he did with John Cena, the matches that he done with obviously the turns that he would do to John Morrison. I mean, just these little things captivated Miz to be the top in the game when he first became the WWE champion. A lot of people said he wasn't going to cut it. He made more sales ticket wise with him being a champion than when John Cena was that champion. So literally, Miz, I got to put him in that category because Miz is one of those guys you just look at him and you want to hate him. Before the reality show, before that reality show, you absolutely did not like Miz, regardless of what way of form that he would do. And Miz is one of the hardest worker guys in that business. Honestly, I mean, one of these guys that literally I would put the brand on the back and let him carry it. Miz is that guy. So number 7 is definitely going to be Mike the Miz Mizanin.
Trust me, it hurts me putting Miz as an honorable mention, but I have to take a stand on what he's been doing the last few years. He's been an absolute joke, and
I wish I could play the video. Hey, hey, ho, ho, while you're talking about that.
I love the Miz, and people who know me, I love the Miz when he first showed up. I was one of those very, very, very few that loved the Miz the moment he was on that screen because he was so annoying, and that's just that was how I was back then. Still am. But I loved it. I was a huge Miz homer, and people still give me crap for it. But when he beat Cena, I got to tell you, that was one of the greatest days of my life because there were so many people crying because Cena lost.
When you put a picture up and you talk about honorable mention, you have to put the picture of that little girl that gave him that death.
She's famous.
They still show her of a lifetime. Like literally, that is a Miz royalty in my opinion. Like literally,
Miz talks to her.
Yeah, like literally, that is the platform to know how true of a heel Miz was. If you can get a reaction out of a little girl, you just basically ruined her life in ways because at that mindset, that's her hero. John Cena was her guy, and Miz beat him. That's his kryptonite. That was John Cena's kryptonite.
I mean, right now I'm looking at my WWE, the recent WWE title, and they didn't have Miz plates, but you can turn the W upside down that's on the side, which is what he did. He just turned it upside down, and that's what I did. Belt. I just turned it upside down, and that's my Miz belt. So when Miz won the belt earlier in the year, I was ecstatic. I knew he wouldn't have it long because I didn't think he'd have it to begin with. But Miz, I love him. It's just what he's done the last few years.
Stuff he did with Bad Bunny, him and Johnny, the stuff that they did with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, just with Bad Bunny himself, that is what you know what a definition of a true heel is. You tell the story of the babyface. And regardless of how the match went, whatever, it didn't make Bad Bunny look really bad. And it didn't make Miz or Morrison look really bad because they were the bad guys. So it literally made it even more meaningful to them seeing Bad Bunny beat Miz and Morrison was because it's like, oh, Miz is a bad guy. Bad Bunny just beat him. Like, Bad Bunny really could do this, which we all know probably not fully.
No, not fully.
But yeah, I definitely have to put the Miz in that category because
I'm gonna close it with this central. As far as I'll close this with
central.
Yeah, he is. I'll close the Miz thing with this. as far as the Bad Bunny thing, for viewers and listeners, if you really want to know how I felt about that night, definitely check out Third Generation Wrestling when we reviewed that WrestleMania, and you will get a full-blown raging MJ book, because I was not a happy individual that night. And that's all I'll say. Rob and Eric, you're out there. You know it's the truth. You were sitting right next to me. I was not a pleasant human being to be around. Fuck Bad Bunny. Sorry again, Warren's mom.
My mom ain't gonna care about all this.
All right. My number 7. I won't spend a whole lot of time on this because you already said him. And it's true. The Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. Kurt, I really do, and I've said this so many times, me and Rob had to be the first Kurt Angle fans when he got to the WWE. Because the second we saw the first vignette, we knew he was going to be a heel. There was just something about it. You could tell he was going to be a heel. And we were already bought in from the first vignette. And when he showed up, we didn't care that he was a heel. We loved it. I'll say this, my favorite memory of Kurt Angle. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. First of all, that match is an amazing match. Yeah. It was on a WrestleMania countdown of great matches that I had done earlier. So definitely check that out. It was on there. It's a tremendous match. There's a venue here in Iowa that was called Billy Joe's Picture Show, where they would show wrestling events on a huge movie screen, huge. And you could dine in there. There was tables. It was fun. You'd be surrounded by maybe a couple hundred of wrestling fans. Just a great way to watch wrestling pay-per-views. I would always show up early to get everybody a table because I would end up having to save 2 or 3 tables. But I get there, I'm wearing my Kurt Angle It's True shirt, which I still have. And I was wearing my Olympic gold medal, which is right there. It's right there. It's right. I'll get it right now. I don't care. It's right there. It's right there. Olympic gold medal right there. Tap out or angle slam. Matter of fact, I'll put it on for.
Go ahead.
There we go. I got my Olympic gold medal. But I'm all in this garb. And
that's before Chris Jericho got it, right?
No, there was one guy in front of me. Yeah, he was wearing Shawn Michaels. So we're already arguing, and as the place gets filled, literally me, Rob, and some random dude were the only people in there rooting for Kurt. And there was about 200 people, close to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're surrounded. When Kurt wins that match, not only wins, but he made Shawn tap. Rob and I jumped out of our chairs and just high-fived each other, hugged each other. We were acting a fool because he don't like Shawn either. I respect him, and so does Rob, but we both don't like him. So the idea of Shawn getting beat and quitting and tapping out, we went ballistic. And some random dude just showed up and started hugging us too. We didn't know who he was, but we didn't care. He was going for Kurt too. So we were partying. So I will always remember that. I may forget my own name one day, but I will remember that. So Kurt Angle, amazing, Olympic gold medalist.
Craziest thing is the fans actually cheered for him too. Even after Shawn Michaels tapped out, it was a big pop.
They did.
Because
and of course, oh yeah, and of course everybody does the you suck. I have never ever done that, and I never ever will, because I'm from the era where that was disrespectful, and I never said it then. So why on earth would I say it now? I'm not gonna say it.
He encourages it.
He encourages it, but I'm still. He does, but I'm still not saying it because he never sucked.
I will say this. You say you have WrestleMania moments and stuff like that. The WrestleMania I got to go to the one in Orlando and see him inducted into the Hall of Fame was really an awesome thing.
Well, you got to see sexy Kurt.
Yeah.
You got to see sexy Kurt. And you got to see the Olympic gold. I mean, I'll sell one more memory. Raw. Now, he wasn't he wasn't a heel at this point. He was face.
The milk bash.
The milk truck. Oh my God.
Those are the two main ones you'll think of. Is
My
literally
poor
those two.
mother. She must have thought I'd lost my mind. I was dying. I was rolling with laughter. And it wasn't just because of what Kurt was doing, but Jim Ross. Milkomania is running wild. The $1 billion princess has become the Dairy Queen. I mean,
oh my gosh.
As I was
imagine
just
how mad all those people had to be. Like literally, you're smelling like milk.
Oh, hey, they're a part of a moment people remember. Yeah. Sean Stasiak is not going to be remembered. People probably don't even know who that dude is. I said his name, and you probably don't know who he is.
He bumped his ass off for that milk, though.
Yeah, but he was part of that moment. It's one of his biggest moments. He'll always have that. He doesn't have much else, at least not in WWE, but he's got that. So, Kurt Angle, my number 7, Olympic gold medalist.
All right, so we on number 6.
Yes, number 6. I'm going to take my medal off because it's tight now.
I know.
I got this when I was a kid.
All right, so my number 6. I had to have a lot of thought on to this one. It's between two guys.
Uh-oh.
One that's been there for a long time. It's just he couldn't find his niche for a long time. They put the brand on him for so long, and everyone kept wondering, hey, you need to change. You need to change. And you finally got the guy that literally I think is WWE now to this day. And I got number 6, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Because the reason why I say this, Roman right now is the best thing that has went for him his entire wrestling tenure, in my honest opinion. The stuff that he is doing now is crazy. Like him using references. I think the best promo I think that he done so far as the recent one was with him and John Cena. And John Cena finally got that payback from the last one that they had going into that No Mercy pay-per-view.
What, the punk ass bitch? That one?
Where he was literally just left speechless, and he's like, oh, 5 years and you finally cut a decent promo.
Yeah, the punk ass bitch night, yeah.
So literally to where
he's improved since then.
Where he went back and he referred Cena as missionary.
Missionary, yeah.
Missionary Cena. And
Roman lit him up. He lit him up that night.
Missionary Cena.
He lit him up that night. Roman destroyed him. That Cena didn't have a chance.
Honestly, I say Roman is Brock with a mic. Like, honestly, Roman Reigns is booked like Brock Lesnar, but can talk on the mic. And the stuff that Roman's doing, I love that he's doing stuff with the Usos, but man, I wish so badly. And we had this on one of my episodes, the match that he did with Jey Uso. You would have never thought Jey Uso would be a meaningful to a singles competitor, except that build-up that he did with his cousin Roman Reigns. And honestly, Roman Reigns became a scumbag to that promo, in my opinion. So I got to do it. Number 6 is going to be the tribal chief, not the big dog, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Roman is definitely not going to make it in my 10, and he definitely wasn't an honorable mention. I can't do it. For those, again, I've mentioned third generation wrestling, mentioning it again. For those who've listened to that show, I mean, I've had my battles with Roman as a heel, and it's mainly because of those damn Usos. I can't stand the fact that they show up in every match. It drives me crazy. It just drives me crazy because it makes him. That's why I can't say he's a Brock type of a heel, because Brock didn't have people show up to help him.
Now, the older Brock he did. Remember,
not nearly as much as Roman.
No, not
nearly as much.
Right,
he was never in a group. He just had Paul, and Paul ain't gonna do anything. things might happen, but he never had somebody outright continuously jump in like Roman does. So I can't say that he's a Brock because Brock doesn't need that. He just beat you up. He just beat you up. So I get the compare. That's who Roman should be. He should be Brock, but he's not yet. And that's what I want. I'm going to close this with this because I've always felt bad for Roman because he didn't deserve all the boos. He never deserved that. He's
never really had a real bad match. Like if you,
I mean, he's really had some bad matches, but nothing that bad.
Not like, oh my God, you fucked up.
No, nothing that bad. Maybe the Taker one.
Literally, I got respect from Roman for that one.
I know, but that's
for him to do that. For him to do that, knowing that kind of messed up his finisher, and then he did it to safely get Undertaker in that. I honestly had respect for him.
I respect it, but it was an ugly match, and it's probably his worst one. But it's not one you're going to rape him over the coals over it. But I've always felt bad for him because he didn't deserve all the boos. Because the fans before the boos, they loved him and they wanted him on top. They got what they wanted, and then they didn't want it anymore. And now there is a certain time frame. I do get it because there was a point they wanted Daniel Bryan and Roman kept getting in the way. That I get. That I totally get. But when you're just booing him to outright just boo him for no reason, that's going too far. Now,
that's like I think Chris Jericho made it saying like Chris Jericho said on his podcast about Roman is the same thing that did with Cena. Cena obviously didn't suck. It's just you just got tired of seeing Cena. So guess what? It was like a recognition. People just started doing it just to do it. I think that's the same thing they did with Roman. It's just boo because it's just the new thing. Like, honestly, if you think about it, Roman was selling more merchandise than most of them, and he's getting booed out of the building.
Yeah, which makes no sense if you really think about it.
Same thing like Cena. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks. And he's still selling more than anybody.
Including Cena sucks shirts.
Including those. And
they have those.
And advertising them.
It's like, dude, y'all are pocketing. You're putting money in Cena's pocket when you buy that shirt. He's still winning. But I'll say one more thing about Roman. The night after he beat Taker, those boos he deserved. Those he completely and utterly deserved.
And he contributed into that booze. I will definitely acknowledge that one.
And he played that so perfectly. He knew good and hell well that crowd was going to eviscerate him for beating Taker. And he just stood there, just soaking it all in. You could see him smiling. He was loving every minute of it. And he closes it out with just the perfect thing, talking about he's the new big dog. And I'm like, oh, you better get security. Somebody's going to shoot you.
There's stages of why that heat was going to be built anyways. One, all of us have been out there for almost 8 hours in that damn heat. Into that night, the lights were in our faces nonstop. So there was a lot of pissed off fans. And then when they came into that Roman Reigns match, you weren't even going to be able to hear anything in that match because literally all you heard was boo, screw you, Roman, all that stuff. And then when Roman had that 1, 2, 3, that was just like he probably needed to have backup take him to his car.
That's what I'm saying. He needed security. he needed security. All right.
That was like a cheeky moment.
Exactly. My number 6, and I'm kind of shocked I have this guy down this far, but it speaks to how good I think the heels above him are. And, well, it's all about the game. Yep. Triple H. Triple H, again, a fearless heel. Far better, I think, as a heel. I fits him way more to be a heel. I mean, yes, he's great at being a face. Fun-loving Triple H is definitely entertaining. But when just looking at him in that picture, you look at that face, it's kind of hard to see comedy.
You just want to think of a dickhead. Like, you just want to
think of arrogant, muscle-bound meathead. That's Triple H. And he played that to the hill. And some of the things he would say to people and do, I mean, it's become infamous, all the stuff he said about Booker T during that WrestleMania March. That has become infamous. And honestly, he deserves to get ripped on for that. He went a little far. But who else could do that?
He did his job.
He did his job. And he's the only one at that moment that could do that. And somehow you're still shocked that he's being that despicable. It's like, it's Triple H. You've seen what this man does. He brings sledgehammers. I mean, he hits people with a sledgehammer. He's a despicable human being and just an all-time great heel. He made me have to vicariously, in a way, root for Ric Flair. And I hate Ric Flair, but I had no choice because he was right there with Triple H. I didn't like Evolution because I hated Flair and I didn't like Randy Orton, but I liked Batista and I liked Triple H. I love those two, which of course the WrestleMania match, I was completely torn. I didn't know what to do, but Triple H, just an absolutely legendary heel. He's one of those, he can do both very, very well, but I would be perfectly fine him never being a face again. And he even did it when he wasn't even wrestling, when he was being corporate, when he was running the company with his wife. He did it perfectly then. He was in some ways better than Vince. In some respects, he could top Vince. And also, obviously we hope the best for Triple H. He's had a rough year health-wise. Hope everything works out for him, and NXT could sure use him right about now. Triple H, the game, all-time great legend, number 6, one of the best heels. I'm shocked I have him this low, but that just speaks volumes to the people above him.
You know what? I had an honorable mention. I said Triple H. Triple H has got to be in my top 10. Like, when you think about it now, with me saying Hollywood Rock, and I said that one of the guys that literally made Stone Cold was The Rock. Triple H
made him first.
Is that third pillar to those two. If you really think about it, Triple H has masterpieces with Rock and Austin. Like, honestly, if you put a guy that literally you wanted to despise and you needed Rock or Austin to get over, Triple H is your guy. And you mentioned it. I remember when DX, when they took over for like damn near a year with Triple H and Stephanie. Who the hell wanted to watch Triple H win a match? No, you wanted to pay tickets to see him get his ass whooped.
Well, I wanted to watch him win.
Nah, I mean, I'm a Rock fan, man.
His first WWF title win was right here in Iowa, in Ames.
Yep, that's right.
He won it here. He won it in Iowa.
That's against Big Show, right?
It was right after SummerSlam. The triple main event with Austin, Foley, and Triple H, where Austin fell over the rope and
that's right. Yeah.
I was there for that. He totally got the whole arena was laughing at him.
Man, but yeah, man, Triple H is that guy that you literally, he could turn on a switch, and if you wanted to cheer him, he could make you cheer him. If you wanted him to boo him, he didn't have to do much at all. Like, honestly, Triple H is that pillar. And honestly, we say Ric Flair is probably the true heel, whatever. Triple H, you got to put his name in those damn categories, because Triple H is one of the best things that's ever came out of WWE. Hands down.
No doubt about it. Before you go to your next one, there's a certain thing that usually tends to happen when I have a guest on here. These episodes tend to become two-parters. Okay. Guess what? This is going to be a two-parter. We're going to stop this for a second right here. We're going to go refuel, get some water, maybe take a piss. I'm going to get a beer, and we'll continue this. We'll be back very soon. We're going to just take a little break. I'll see you on the next, which will be part 2 of me and my man here counting down our favorite heels. Catch you back here in a little bit.
Yes, sir.